This is Section 3, Photography Digital Processing 1, COM 1275, Photo Editing. For the vignette effect, it looks like there's a couple of ways you can do it. So if you go into the presets, let's exit out of there, there's actually a section under Basics, Vignetting. So you have none, you have light vignette, medium vignette, heavy vignette. And yeah, basically what they seem to do is you go from a light, and this is not very heavy considering it's called heavy, but you can go from a light vignette to a dark vignette. So you get darker around the edges or lighter around the edges. And in this case, 100 is average. So that's the way it was before. But we can exit out of there. Okay, so in the edit menu, there's also a vignette effect. Scroll down, here it is under effects. And it actually looks like it had a bit of vignette added to it. But you can go here for a darker vignette. And the further you go, the more the effect is, right? So it becomes kind of a wider effect. Here it just kind of lessens up, or if you go to the extreme the other way, it gets whiter and whiter. And so all the way over, you kind of got it ringed in with white. If you go all the way to the other side, it's ringed in with black. Okay. And so those are two ways that you can create the vignette effect. The last thing we're going to look at is retouching photographs. And I played around with this a little bit. I'll show you a few basic things. There's definitely more to it than what I know, but at least it'll give you something to build off of. So when you're in Lightroom, if you go off to the side, let me find the right one. Yeah. Well, there's remove, there's masking. So these are different things that you can use to edit your pictures. I'll play around more with the remove. The masking I haven't played around with too much, but it can actually let you choose between, oops, and it's going away. Your subject, the sky, the background, it can allow you to edit certain things out. So again, I haven't played around with that too much, but those are options that are there that you can try out. The other one is under this remove, right? There's remove, there's heal, and there's clone. Okay, so these are different things you can use. Oh, and there's red eye. So if somebody's got red eyes in there, you'll be able to click on that and fix their red eyes. And then here's some, well, you can even see here, if I put it on the horse, will it leave it? Nope, hang on, now it's changing things. Undo. I was just trying to center it there so it was easier to see. Let's just undo everything. Okay, with retouching, there's a few things you can do. This is a bit extreme. I haven't played around with this too much, but it's something you can definitely try out. You can mask your subject, mask the sky, mask the background. So that's pretty drastic. It's a little bit different from just retouching, basically. But for retouching, here's remove. Okay, so you can go in here, and this one removes things. So I've played around with this picture before. This is back to the original, but if you click on remove, oh, and you can change the size of your tool, right? So let's make this a little bit bigger. Now you see that circle, that's where I'm going to edit things. So if I want to remove this salt block, I can just click in there and drag. Now what's interesting is when you are doing these edits, you're doing this retouching, my understanding is it's got like an AI that's set up, and what it tries to do is to draw information from what's close to it and base the changes off of that. And so it almost looks like, let's click off of this for a second and then zoom in, right? It's added some grass in, but then it looks like it's added parts of the horse in. And realistically there, all I want to do is make it look like it's just part of the grass. So when you're doing these edits, weird things like that can happen. Like in here, when I was playing around, I thought I'd try to make this area white more to match the front of the nose here. And when I was doing that, it added in the eye. So the horse had an extra eye down here. So these kinds of things can happen. Be aware of that. And editing, Control Z or undo, it can be your friend, right? So you undo it and it goes back to the way it was. But let me play around with this some more. Let me do this. So I want to get rid of that. I'm going to do this, right? And it may pull in parts of the horse. That's okay too, because eventually it should do things the way I want it to, hopefully. Okay. But another thing, whoops. Oh, and with the mouse wheel, you can make it bigger and smaller too. So that's handy. Yeah. And so eventually you can get rid of it and get rid of what you wanted. Now, the thing is, very often when doing this, I found, whoops, make that smaller. That when you make these adjustments, if you actually zoom in, so let's click on that again and zoom in. When you zoom in, it looks fairly obvious that there's been some editing going on there, which is unfortunate. But if nobody zooms in on it, it doesn't necessarily look so bad. But if people zoom in, it'll be like, what went on there? Okay. And that's not necessarily what you want. So yeah, this one is really not cooperating with getting rid of that last bit of the salt block there. Okay, that's a bit better. Now, the other thing is heal, right? So you can click on heal, and that seems to be doing a better job of replacing it with what I wanted, more or less. That one, not so much. And then you can do clone. So if I click, right, now it should be kind of using something similar to what I had. See if I drag it out. Yeah, that one, again, that does not look like what I would want. So you might have to play with it quite a bit to get it looking the way you want. Unfortunately, let's see what it does here. Unfortunately, you can get these weird texture differences that if somebody really looks at your picture, they're going to know something was altered there. Again, you can play around with this stuff, and with any luck, you'll get better at it than I am. That wouldn't be a bad thing, but I'll just play around with it some more and get rid of some of the stuff that I was getting rid of when I was doing my sample. Okay, whoops, didn't mean to do that. That's fine though. What I wanted to do was zoom in here. Okay, so there was that white, I don't know if it was a piece of paper or something. I made that go away, right? There's a blue something over here. Again, I can do the heel thing, and that's gone away. And if I click on there, where is it in here? Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's not as bad as what was going on over here. Another thing I was doing, I was getting rid of these holes in this hill, this mound, right? So kind of smoothing that over. Why? Just because I could. Okay. Yeah. There. Smooth that over. And that. Okay. I like the texture it put in there. Whoa, okay, now look, that seems to be pulling in parts of the horse here for whatever reason. So like I said, you gotta have to watch for that kind of thing. But you can play around with it and eventually it'll get where you want it to be. I know at one point I was trying to get rid of this fence, but then this line here is actually a road and it wasn't matching up the road at all. So yeah, it's got some limitations, but it certainly can do a job for you. Let's see what's going on here. Or is it pulling in parts of the horse again? Whoops, whoa, that's not the picture I wanted. I just wanted to zoom in. Okay, yeah, see, it's pulling in parts of the horse in here again. So, definitely something to play with, something to try out. You can get it to get rid of stuff, and if you practice at it, you probably will get, and it may not take you much practice, but you'll probably get a whole lot better at it than I am. That's for sure. All right. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned some things that'll help you out